All right, so YouTube, welcome. We have guest Jess Mason on the show today for the Yarn Thing podcast. I'm going to get the podcast started and welcome Jess to the show. So let's see here. I am not hearing any sound. I can't tell if I am live or not. So hopefully you guys will be able to help me out here a little bit. Hey, Facebook land. Hey, YouTube land. Can you tell me if you are hearing any sound? Because I am not hearing anything on the Blog Talk Radio side. So I am going to refresh their screen. And it says that I'm live. And I know that this is Jess. Jess, are you there? Can you hear me? Awesome. You gotta love it. Let's see here. Oh, they have disconnected me. Fantastic. So let's connect again. Live radio, guys. This is the way it works sometimes. I've connected a couple times and it keeps disconnecting me. So how are you guys doing on this wonderful Tuesday, November 21st? It's right before Thanksgiving here in America. Let's see. I'm still not hearing any sound. It's trying to reconnect right now. I'm sorry, y'all. Nothing. This is frustrating. Oh, come on. It says it's analyzing and it's disconnected me. Awesome. Even better. Jess, hang on there. We're going to get this eventually. I promise. We'll see what Blog Talk Radio is doing. Something is going on with them. It's not letting me connect. Let's see. Continue. Direct connect. You guys hear it, right? You hear the dialing that happens? That's the dialing that's going on. Usually I call in and it says, welcome to Blog Talk Radio. Nothing. It's not saying anything to me. Anything? Oh, it says I'm live. All right, so it says I'm connected, but I still can't hear anything. So let's see if we can see if this is Jess. See if Jess can hear me. Jess? Are you there? Can you hear me? This is the craziest thing, you all. Like, I am looking at the numbers. I have no sound. I have no sound whatsoever. I don't know. Headphones are hooked up. Everything is connected. I'm having some weird numbers on my Blog Talk Radio page, though. It's so strange. I don't know what's happening. Jess, if you are there, Jess, I apologize. I don't know what's going on, but it's not letting me connect. I am going to see if I can get some help. They have a help center here. See if I can get help. It says typically replies in a day. Seriously? So there's no live help. How crazy is that? Oh, I'm so over this service. Okay, guys. Let's see here. Let me see if I can figure this out. Maybe we could get Jess to call in to Facebook. I wonder if there's a way to do that. Let me look at Facebook here. Sorry, everybody. I know this is like super boring and majorly disappointing. Imagine how I feel. This is a new one for me that there's no sound. There's nothing coming from Blog Talk Radio at all. And I don't understand why. Yeah, Teresa, Adventures in Blog Talk Radio. That's exactly right. I'm at a loss. And Jess, I have you, like I clicked you to where you're on air, but I can't hear you at all. That's so crazy. This is the craziest thing. I just don't know. I don't know what to do. Gosh darn it. Oh, if you guys only knew. You only knew how frustrating this is right now. Let's see here. I wonder if I could have... Jess has disconnected. I'm going to disconnect from the podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast, I am disconnecting right now because it's not working. And I'll talk to you guys real quick. Let's see if we can get Jess to call in over like Google Hangout. So I am going to ask Caitlin. Caitlin, can you help me out here? Maybe we can get Jess over Google Hangouts. Let me open Google Hangout. You guys get to see, this is like impromptu. Let's see if we can get this to work. I don't even know if she is able to do Google Hangouts. Let's see. You know, why not? Why not give this a try? So much fun. I tell ya, so much fun. I'm going to open Google Hangout. Let's see if we can do, I'll see if I could do a video call with her. Why not? And I am going to send her an email invitation. You like this? This is the play-by-play. This is the way it works, guys. Copy. You make it happen, right? You make this stuff happen. Video call, and let's invite her. Jess, I'm going to invite her for the video call, and then maybe we can do this. And I think that I know Selena usually uses Google Hangout on air and does live YouTube lives with that also. So that might be something that I need to jump into and give it a try, because I actually think it'd be so much more interesting to be able to not only see me, because I mean, seriously, you don't want to see this all the time, but also see the guests. I think that would be fantastic. So I'm hoping that I can make that happen sometime here in the new year, where we're trying out new things. I'm not really sure how we're going to advance the podcast in the future. I don't know if I'm still going to use Blog Talk Radio. This is a prime example of why. I don't know what's going on, and it's frustrating. It's crazy to me that I can be streaming live on so many different locations and not have any problem with the video, but when I want to do something just plain old audio, I have nothing but issues. That is infuriating. So let's see here. I've invited her, and she's not here yet. She might be like, girl, I tried to call you. Let's see here. Trying to get in touch with her, y'all. Let's see. I don't have her full phone number. Otherwise I would contact her. Let me see if I can message her on Facebook. I have so many tabs open on my computer right now. It's insane. Insane. Thanks to all of you still hanging out here with me. Let's see if we can find her and get her over here on Google Hangout. And see if we can interview her here. Hey, Jess, this is my message to her. I am trying to get you on Google Hangout. I sent an invite to your email. Did you get it? Question mark. Let's see here. Did you get it? Join me there for the podcast. Technical difficulties with Blog Talk Radio. All right, so I've sent that to her. Let's see if she joins us. Okay, let me see. I've got, like I said, so many tabs open. Let's make sure that if she joins us, we can see her. So I'm going to put her little picture right up there. So anyways, while I have you all here, how about I just say hey and see what's going on. Let's see. Jadira says, you can call me through Facebook Messenger. You know what? That would be fun. And it's actually, that's how I have my phone meetings with Brittany and Caitlin when it's just us. And it works out really well. It works really well to do that. But right now we're going to go through this and see if this happens. She has not accepted the invite yet. Maybe I can, let me copy the link. And let's send her the link also. And Control V for paste. So I sent her the link also. Anyways, so there we have it. So much fun. Maybe Blog Talk Radio just doesn't think I'm serious. Oh, maybe we think we have her. Hi. Hi. There you are. Oh, I don't have any sound. I still don't have sound. Do you have sound? She has sound. I don't have sound. Okay, so I'm looking. All of my sound things are working. It says everything is connected. I don't know what's happening. All of my sound stuff is connected. Everything is connected. All right, hold on. Hold on. I'm going to turn my computer so you guys are going to see a heck of a mess. All right, you ready? Let's make sure it's all plugged in. Yep, everything's plugged in there. Everything's still plugged in on my end. This is the craziest thing. Jess, I don't know what's happening. Okay, Jess, just because I've had this happen with Google before, I'm going to call you over Facebook and let's see if that helps. Okay, so she said, okay, so let's see if we can make this work. All right, wow, this is a lot of fun. All right, so I'm calling her over Facebook. Jadira, we're calling her over Facebook. Let's see if this works. Oh, we have sound. We have sound. Is it going to work? I can't hear you. Ah! Type what? This is what I see. I don't know. I have video. My microphone is on. Everything's on. And we had sound coming through the computer. Settings.
How about now?
Oh, yes. Hi. Yes. 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 We got sound, everybody. We are in game. Now, I so wish everybody could see my screen because then they could see you. And that would be even better. I wonder.
Well, at least we can both hear each other. So
yeah.
That's cool.
Right?
That's a step in the right direction.
Jeez Louise. Only took what time is it? Oh, 12 minutes. Awesome. 12 minutes into the podcast. We finally get something to work here. I'm totally going to have to do what Selena does with being able to see both guests because I think it's just so much better than what we're seeing right now. But at least we have something. We have something going on here.
Well, I'm glad we got it to work out.
Me too. And actually, this sound is better than Blog Talk Radio. Like, it's coming through so much better. Yay. Yeah, everybody is so happy.
Work better.
On Facebook, people are like giving all sorts of hearts and happy faces. They're thrilled. They're so thrilled that we got something to work here. Oh my gosh. These are the days of our lives. So, hi, Jess. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic now. You just kind of roll with the punches when you deal with live stuff. You just do what you got to do. So, I didn't even get a chance to really introduce you. I didn't do anything because I just tried to find you, trying to get your sounds. So let's jump in because I don't know that much about you actually. And what I know about you is that you're one of Selena's really great friends and that you are part of the Yarnpreneur Society. And my social media manager, Caitlin, thinks you're fantastic. And so some of my favorite people in my life think you're amazing. So you must be amazing. So I'm excited to learn about you a little bit.
Well, I'm really excited to be chatting with you. I think this is just a really fun opportunity, and you're one of my idols. So this is like I get to do a little fangirling. So thank you for having me on.
Shoot, thank you. That's an honor. Thank you so much for saying that. I don't know why, but hey.
There's not a lot of, you attach to certain people in the industry and you look up to certain people and you're one of them. So
thank you.
I'm really excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm excited to have you here.
Basically what I do, I got involved with Selena when we were both working back at Crochet Media and, the two of us kind of really formed an awesome relationship. She's my work wife. So we talk quite frequently, and she certainly helps me out with my business a lot. But I'm the founder of the Yarnpreneur Society and Academy. And I started the Yarnpreneur Society about 1.5 years ago. I kind of realized I was having a moment. I'm also a crochet designer, and had this moment where I was looking for something to help me grow my business. I was looking for educational materials or resources, and I couldn't find what I was looking for. I found plenty of generic business resources, not a lot of stuff that was really geared towards yarnpreneurs, as I call them.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything that was specifically for our industry. And in that moment, I realized I was actually driving, and I had to pull over because it like hit me, this idea that I could create a hub for educational resources for yarnpreneurs, for people like me, to help them grow their businesses and build their businesses and be successful, and feel confident in, you know, what they were learning and how they were growing and what they were able to accomplish. So often outsiders look at our industry and they think, oh, you can't make a career from that.
Right. Oh yeah. It happens all the time. Like just yesterday. Yeah. So I went yesterday to get my nails done. I mean, don't they look pretty? They're just clear. My nails, I have shellac on my nails like nonstop, like for 3 years because I do videos, right? And they're like sore. I mean, this is total tangent, but and so I'm at the nail salon and they're like, oh, Marley, shellac. And I'm like, no, I just went plain nail polish. And so they were shocked in and of themselves. And I'm sitting there and this woman next to me, she's like, oh, you do shellac all the time. I said, yeah. She goes, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm a knitting and crochet designer. She goes, really? You can make money doing that? And I'm like, that's always the question. So, I mean, literally just happened to me yesterday. Totally get it.
Yeah. So it's a very common response for people who haven't been immersed in the industry and don't understand how big the industry and the marketplace actually is. And especially because it's one of those things that can very easily be broken down into two paths. You can certainly be involved in the industry and the marketplace and just be a hobbyist for your entire life.
Yeah.
However, you can also take it to the next level and, you know, turn it into your business and your career. And it is possible. And that's one of the things that I kind of wanted to help people realize. Although I do know that there are a lot of people who go into this business just as a part-time thing, just because they enjoy it and it's fun, and that's fine too. But I wanted to build resources that were specifically for us because I couldn't find anything. And I realized, I mean, I've been interested in business since I was in high school. So I've taken tons of courses and read tons of books, and I spent so much time not only, actually taking in that material, but then I had to spend so much time adapting it to our business and our market because it's so unique.
Yeah.
There are so many things that, regular business courses will teach you or tell you about that, just don't work for us. No. Or they have to be heavily adapted. Yes. Like you have to really get at the nugget of what they're trying to say, but you have to figure it out all on your own. And I spent so much time in my own pattern business trying to figure it out. Like I can't be the only one.
Right.
So that was my ultimate goal with the Yarnpreneur Society and the Academy, was to create a place where yarnpreneurs could go and they didn't have to go anywhere else. You don't have to Google things anymore. You don't have to take a bunch of business courses. You don't have to find specific courses on little things. Like we lay everything out for you. And there's no pieces missing at the end of the day. And you feel confident that you have a foundation and you can build your business on that. And, you're not constantly in that like search mode. Like I need to learn the next thing. It's very much like just sit back and read and listen and watch and you're good.
Right. I wish that there had been something out there for me too. Like I didn't know what I was doing, like at all, all.
most of us don't, because there's nothing out there.
No, there's nothing. And I got lucky in that I found a couple of designer friends who had been in the business maybe 6 months to a year before I was, and they knew that there wasn't any help. And for the, the goodness of their heart, bless them, they helped me ever so slightly with just various information I would ask them, but still it wasn't even the mounds of information that I had to learn, just trial and error. So I think what you're doing is amazing, because there is a need. It's crazy. So let's take a step back a little bit, because you were mentioning that you're a crochet designer. Let's talk about how you started crochet designing. Like, start us with that a little bit and tell us about what you were learning there, and then how now you've applied it to the Yarnpreneur Society and Academy.
Yeah, so I came to crochet later than almost everyone I talked to. Selena's like, I learned when I was 5, and I'm like, yeah.
I didn't either.
So I came to crochet when I was around 15 or 16. My grandma crocheted, and I was just really interested, and I was always like a crafty kind of build. I love like making and building things, and I remember she taught me how to chain. And I think I just made an entire skein of yarn like into one big giant chain. Like, I just chained forever.
Yep.
And then, she started teaching me, and my grandma didn't really know a lot. She knew how to make one blanket. Like, that was her thing. She made blankets, and then she would make a bunch, and then she'd go to a hospital and she'd hand them out. So like, that was her thing. She only knew how to do that.
Right.
So she taught me single crochet and double crochet. And then I was hooked. So I started, learning on YouTube, and I, piecemeal my education. I was very much a teach yourself kind of person, just in general. So I got into crocheting and just started trying. My first blanket was interesting. The seam, it was one of those, I didn't know how to, start and stop rounds. So the seam just goes on a total angle. I still have it because, it's like for posterity. And then you have my first amigurumi.
Nice. How cute is that?
I did pretty good with him, but I didn't realize until a few months later that all of his pieces are inside out. So I have the wrong side. But, it was a learning process. It was fun for me. Like, I loved just kind of diving into new techniques and new patterns. And I started designing just kind of on a whim, just like, hey, let me see what happens. And I designed my first pattern and put it up on Ravelry. And when people started buying it, I was like, wait a minute, maybe I've got something here. So I kind of, I just kept designing and learning, and I started, this is something that I'm very open about, but I started, my first patterns were movie characters. And I did not realize until a little bit in that was not really, legal.
You're not the only one. I mean, there's many. There's
plenty of people that don't know. There's also plenty of people that know and don't care. Yeah. I was the kind of person that once I found out, I was like, okay, so I had to make a pivot. I started, building original designs. And then I also started reaching out to artists that I would find on Instagram that had drawings or interesting, because I love amigurumi.
Okay.
So I reached out to this artist in the UK, and I was like, I think your designs are adorable. Can I make them into crochet? And she was like, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh, that is such a good idea.
Yeah. So I live with the prospect. It's better to ask. Why not?
Oh, absolutely.
The worst they can say is no.
Right.
So, I asked a few people. A few people said no. And a few people said yes. And it was really fun, because what I really loved was what I loved about the movie characters was I loved taking the drawing and the thing that was already kind of created and transforming it into a different medium. And this allowed me to do that, because I'm not an artist. I can't draw.
I can't draw either. I try. I mean, I can pretend draw, but it's still, I mean, it's enough to impress my kids. They're like, that's awesome, Mom. But I'm like, oh, it's really not. It'll get by.
Not my thing.
No.
And so, yeah, I started doing that, and I started expanding my designs into things that were into garments and things that I really didn't think I was ever going to get into. I thought I was going to kind of just stick to the amigurumi. But I found that I really enjoyed just kind of trying new things. For me, it's all about like just doing something new. So I really enjoyed kind of expanding my repertoire, as it were. And, you know, probably about a year and a half into designing was when I kind of felt stuck. Like the movie characters did well because, you know, everyone's looking for them when the movie comes out. And it's a whole different ballgame, you know, trying to market and sell your own designs that are, you know, not tied to some sort of bigger event.
Where the marketing hasn't already been done for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was when I kind of first started really struggling and kind of not understanding, like, okay, so what do I need to do to market these designs? And that was when I started looking more and more into, you know, what's available to yarnpreneurs to help them. Mm-hmm. And I realized there was nothing.
Right. So I'm going to share something with you. It was 18 years ago today that I learned to crochet.
Oh my God.
18 years ago today. Yep.
Happy.
Hey, thanks. I know. And so, I mean, I think it's funny when you say, you were 15 when you learned. I mean, I was 22, 23. I was 22. I don't know. I was older, but yeah, it was 18 years ago today that I learned to crochet. And I think I love your story because, like you, my grandmother taught me to crochet, taught me to chain, single, and double. I've taught myself everything else. I was completely hooked. I was like your grandmother, and that all I made were blankets until somebody pointed out to me that I could stop after 5 inches and call it a scarf. Which, I mean, seriously, it was like mind blowing to me. I tell that story usually when I go out and tell like my own theme, but I think that your path and what you've done is so indicative of what so many people have done, whether it's doing the characters or just like jumping in. Oh, look, I could do something with this. Now, one thing that I have learned through interviewing different people along the way is, you know, you jump in and you start writing patterns, and sometimes you don't know like what the correct way to write a pattern is, or, you know, what is a tech editor, or what does that mean? Or so how did you learn those different things? And like, to me, amigurumi is fascinating, and the podcast listeners know this. I am so not an amigurumi person. Like, there is something about the 3D nature of toys that I don't know what it is. There's a block in my brain. Sweaters all day long. I could do that. No problem.
Yeah. I can't do a sweater.
Amigurumis. I seriously, I'm not even going to show you like my attempts. Like, they're really bad. Like, they're just awful. But so where this is going is, here you are liking amigurumi, writing patterns for that. How do you do that? Like, how did you learn to do that? Or is this also part of the Yarnpreneur sort of stuff?
The amigurumi for me, I think, was a combination of a few things. It was a combination of just finding patterns and just trying them out and like kind of figuring out how they were constructed, because I was building them from something that, you know, someone had already figured out.
Right.
And I also, you know, from a very young age, I have a spatial brain, like by the way things fit together, like that kind of stuff. My brain works that way. So I think it was a combination of just kind of naturally being inclined towards, creating 3D objects and how they fit together. And also just kind of, I call it studying. You know, after doing a few amigurumi, kind of realizing that, okay, there's like a basic structure to certain shapes. You know, like if you don't want it to get any bigger, you can just, you know, make a circle and then keep going and you'll get a tube. You know, like those kinds of things that you learn just from doing other people's patterns. I kind of was able to deconstruct those pieces and then put them back together in a way that, you know, created the shape that I wanted to create. So that to me was a learning process. The one thing that I do realize, like you mentioned, how do people know, like, if you don't know what tech editing is, or you don't know how to format and write a pattern. I talk to people a lot of times, they don't know what a style sheet is. That's a big one. Those are the kinds of things that normally most of us, and this is what I'm trying to change, most of us, we wing it.
Mm-hmm.
We wing it, or maybe if we have another designer that we admire, we'll go to their stuff and be like, okay, so what are they doing? But again, the industry, there's like standard, abbreviations and stuff like that. But outside of that, there's no standard way to format a pattern. There are plenty of people that put the number of stitches before, the name of the stitch. And then there's some people who do it the other way around, there's no real standard, which makes it difficult in a few ways. It makes it difficult for new designers, because not only do they have to figure out how to write the design itself, but they have to figure out how to format it in a way that people are going to be able to read and understand.
I'm just going to jump in. I was in a group and somebody was writing something, and somebody responded that they can't read patterns because designers try and make them so hard to read. And I was like, I couldn't help myself. I said, oh, she foiled my plan to write the patterns out so hard that nobody can read them. I'm like, that's no
my ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, right. I don't want anybody to get my pattern. I want to show you this pretty thing, but I don't want you to make it.
That's my goal.
That's it. What are we doing today? Pinky and the Brain, right? Exactly.
Yeah, I think, and I think part of it is it's hard as a designer, as a new designer, especially, because there aren't any guidelines, because there's no one telling you that it should be done a certain way.
Unless it's with the magazine.
Yeah. And it has to, I know it was frustrating for me, because I think everyone winds up just writing patterns the way they like to read them.
Yeah, I do.
And that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy for anyone to read. Right. So there are so many things. I didn't know what a tech editor was until probably about a year and a half ago. I didn't know none of my patterns went through testing until, a year and a half. Like there's just some things that
it's the learning curve.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to reduce. I'm trying to give people not only the education and the resources, but the support.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of free Facebook groups. You can make friends with designers all day long. But there's something to be said for getting a bunch of people in one place that feel like they're on the same level and are trying to accomplish the same things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here you are, you see a need, and it's like that old robots movie, see a need, fill a need. So how did you go about it? You pull over your car, you're like, I know what we need. And, sometimes that's where it ends. Like they don't ever take that next step. It happens to me a lot. I do that a lot. That's why I hired people so that they can take that next. I'm like, we need to do this. And Caitlin and Brilliant are like, oh, all right, here she goes again, But, so kudos to you for taking that next step. So tell us what the next step is.
So at the time, I was a member of an online community that was filled with other online entrepreneurs. So again, these were not yarnpreneurs. These were people who had businesses in every market, every random niche. But it was basically just a site filled with forums and some resources for kind of helping you figure out an online business.
Okay.
So I kind of went there and I started talking about my idea, and everyone on there was super supportive, even though most of them kind of didn't really understand because most people just don't get it. everyone was like, that sounds like, if you understand that there's a need, that sounds great. So they started kind of pointing me in the right direction of like where to get started. I originally started the site, the members site. So it's a paid membership, the member site, which is now called the Academy. It was originally just forums. And my goal was to curate content and post it in the forums, and then just kind of use the forums as a means for people to have discussions and, you know, talk about not only the content, but any questions that they had just kind of in their business in general. And that was a hard road to start off on because I didn't have much of an audience.
Okay.
You know, I hadn't been designing for very long, so I didn't really have a big audience over there that I could even talk to. And I didn't have a lot of contacts in the industry. I didn't have, so it was tough to get it off the ground because I set up these forums and I was super excited about them. And, you know, I was trying to figure out how to create content and what I wanted to share. And it was mostly crickets because I didn't have a lot of people in there. And, you know, you kind of need a lot of people to have like lively discussions, and, you know, people have life and everything. So it's not like everybody was on all the time anyway. So I did that for probably a month or two. And then I started asking for feedback from the people who were in there. And I realize now that I should have done that the other way around. I would rather have done more research, talked to more yarnpreneurs, talked to more of my target market before I actually went out and build anything, because I did spend quite a bit of money on the forum software. But, you know, after kind of talking, it happens.
Girl, I know.
But after talking to everyone, I realized that I had made a mistake with the forum, that you know, people could get community almost anywhere. They could get free community almost anywhere. And that's not to say that community isn't valuable, but it is to say that I was centering the membership around the community when I should have been centering it around the content.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I realized that, and I made a shift. So I built an entirely new site that was based around the content. I also started doing different types of content. So basically every week there would be a new piece of something. So I used to do things called studio hours, which was basically me talking about, usually I was talking about the emotional side, or the, you know, the deeper side of what we get into, things like burnout, things like, you know, not feeling good enough, things like having self-confidence issues, not knowing how to sell to people because we don't know how to talk about our own product, things like that. And then, you know, Selena actually used to do a piece. She would do strategy sessions. So she would break down a particular strategy. We also used to do what I called stitch and clicks, which were tech tutorials. You know, how to set up a domain redirect, like, you know, things that like people just don't know how to do.
I don't know how to do those things. Those are important. Yeah, I don't know how to do anything.
Like, and when you try and figure it out and like try and Google it, it's like you could go down a rabbit hole for like hours.
You know what I want? I want a tutorial on Instagram, because I mean, I take pictures all the time, but I'm like, who wants to watch this, or who wants to look at this, or I can't share this because it's a secret I'm working on. Like anyways, you know, I'm a very big squirrel kind of conversation person. So, you know, hang in there, get you the reins and let's go, because it's hard. But I want Instagram.
Things that people struggle with.
Yes, especially as oldies.
Things. It was setting up email autoresponders and like, like you just don't know how to do. And also like, there's so many options for tools. There's so many different apps and software and services and things. And, you know, most of us are bootstrapping this or like kind of doing it on our own. So needs to be like very budget friendly and things like that. So
It's
that
so
was another
hard.
piece that I like to do. And then the master classes were, I would bring on an expert and I'd bring on a guest and we'd talk about something that they were an expert in, because I say this all the time, I'm not an expert in everything. I am the founder of the Academy, but I am not the only person putting the education together, because I think it's important that, the things that I don't feel strong in, that I find someone who's strong in those things.
That's great.
I didn't want to, I don't want to be like, I'll be the face of it. I'll be the host. I'll share the information with you. And there are certainly things that I feel comfortable enough and I feel strong enough in, kind of saying I'm the expert on that thing. But there are certain things that I do not, that I have not experienced, things like publishing a book, things that are out of my realm of experience that I do not feel confident talking about. So I frequently bring on experts to discuss those things and share their expertise and experience.
That's so great.
Because I think that's important.
I think it would be really smart for a magazine to do an article on you and this, because I think that'd be a great way to get out there. I mean, I get it. The publishing world is struggling and magazines are struggling, but people still buy magazines. I am alone trying to support the magazine industry. I have every single issue of all the knitting magazines, but this just seems like that'd be such a great way to get this information out there, because there are so many people who maybe they're 40 and older and they spend just a little bit of time on Facebook, maybe a lot of time on Instagram, or vice versa, and they need these things, but they don't know where to go to get them or how to, find you to do this. It seems like this would be a really great tool, not just for crocheters, but for knitters, for weavers, for everybody. So Trisha Malcolm, if you're listening, Vogue should do an article on this. Somebody hyperlink Trish to this podcast so that she can get this. Or Deb Garish, this would be really good content. I love that you're putting all of this together and you're bringing in the experts to do this, because I think that's key. I'm lucky enough that I've been in the industry now 10 years. And I've met so many different people, and each one, like if I'm like, I want to know more about self-publishing a book, I know that I can go to Hunter Hammerson and I can go to Ann Budd or Ann Burke, who is amazing. If I need if I need an editor, I could go to Ann Budd. If I need somebody who's a great tech editor, I know that I can go to Sherry Moore. I could go to Kristen Tendike. I know that if I want somebody to do awesome crochet charts, I have Robin Chichula, who is also my favorite crochet designer. And, I have these contacts, but it's taken me 10 years to get these contacts. And I think what's great for you is you are in a position where it's like, oh, you need to learn more about how to do a YouTube video. Okay, well, I could contact Marley. She does her own videos. What does she do? What does she use? How did she learn? Because telling you, I learned from scratch. I learned literally from sitting here and figuring it out. Biggest compliment I ever had was somebody reaming me in a comment saying that, I know you have a production team to do blah, 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 and you could do blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you think I have a production team? Like she was totally like reaming me on something. I was like, she thinks I have a production team. I totally don't. It's totally just me. Absolutely just me. From turning on the lights to making sure the microphone's on, just me. But being able to reach out and make those connections, that's huge. And so take this the way I'm going to ask it, because you have not been in the industry that long. How are you finding those contacts? Because, it's taken me 10 years to find as many as I have. How are you doing that? And I don't mean that as please take. Okay. I totally
get it.
Okay.
That was honestly, so there's two sides to that. That part of it was really anxiety ridden for me because of that. Nobody knows who I am.
Yeah.
Honestly, nobody knows who I am. And especially after starting the Yarnpreneur Society and Academy, I've let my design side of everything kind of fall by the wayside. So I really haven't even had a chance to kind of build up in that realm at all. So yeah, nobody knows who I am. And that to me was, for the longest time, was a really big sticking point.
Mm-hmm.
I I was afraid to reach out to people. I didn't know who I should reach out to. I didn't know how to reach out to some people, but I realized came a point in time when I realized, and Selena actually pushed me a little bit too. I just had to go for it.
Yeah.
I just had to, what is the worst they can do? They can say no.
Yep.
So I just started reaching out to people, and I started with something small. So what I did was I started publishing Yarnpreneur profiles on the public blog on yarnpreneur.com. So I started reaching out to friends of mine. So I did have, at that point, quite a few designer friends. But then I also just started reaching out to designers that I admired. And I would literally just say, hey, listen, like, I'm a big fan of yours. I think it would be really cool if I could do this interview with you. And it's just a text interview. So they just like type their responses, and I just put it up on the blog. And that was kind of like a door opener. It was a conversation starter. It was a way to kind of like just talk to people in the industry and get a chance to reach out to people that I admired and that I thought had something to offer. Because I think everyone who we consider successful in this business has something to offer.
Absolutely.
Even if it's just to share their story. Even if they don't consider themselves an expert in one particular thing, their story is valuable, even if it's just as inspiration, even if someone doesn't take like strategy from it,
That's why I do the podcast. I love people's stories. Yeah. I've learned so much from your story. It's amazing. So you're absolutely right.
I think that was fun to me. Once I started, no one has ever told me no. Once I started, it was I unleashed the beast. I was like, yeah, I'm just doing this now. I'm just talking. And I would just message people all the time, all over the place, on Instagram, on Facebook. I'd email people. Selena had a few friends and contacts that she reached out to for me, so that helped a lot. And I just, there would be people that I'm like, I really don't know if you're going to take this the wrong way. I don't know if you're even going to read my email, but I'm going to send it. And that was what happened. And I not only, got a chance to work with some really cool people. I made some really good friends. I kind of expanded my reach as far as who knows about what I'm trying to do. Because I'm going to be honest, that's my biggest problem right now, is people don't know me. And not only do they not know me personally, but they don't know what I'm trying to do, right? Like, they see the Yarnpreneur Society and they're like, what is that? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest hurdle right now, is really figuring out, okay, so how do I reach more people so that I can help more people?
I love it.
Because I completely changed 2 months ago the offerings inside the membership once again, based on member feedback. We are now operating with a 12-course, what I call the Success Path Blueprint. And every month we go through a different subject, a different category, and all of those things build up to create your business and an amazing foundation for you. I published the Golden Circle course, which to me has been a biggie because it provides people the foundation that they didn't know they needed. And it's honestly the number one thing that most people who fail is because they didn't have this. They didn't have a foundation. They didn't have a strategy. They didn't know where they were going or what they wanted. And because of that, it's very hard to determine, okay, what am I going to do every day? And all of the things that come after are very difficult to determine if you don't have that foundation in place. So, I spent a lot of time building content that I knew would be really valuable for people based on everything that I've been doing for the past year. And I finally feel like I'm in a place where I know that this is what people need. I'm not doing the forums anymore. I'm not in that realm where like people are, all right, I feel kind of lost. People feel like, members feel like they know exactly where they're going. And each course kind of builds on each other so that when you're done, you have everything you need. And that was what I wanted. I want to be a one-stop shop, because I think there's something to be said for knowing where you get your answers. For example, like you're saying, you know, I know who to go to for this. I know who to go to for that. You know, knowing that you have one place to go and you're like, okay, if I need to learn about this, if I need to learn about this, if I don't know how to do this, I know I can go here. Because I want to eliminate the Googling, and I want to eliminate the taking single courses, you know, taking things that don't build into something bigger, taking things that don't, you know, mesh well. You know, that is my ultimate goal, to create a hub where people can go and know that they're going to get whatever they need to build a successful business.
I love it. All right. So I think we've sold people that this is great. This is a full, like, how do they join? How do they become a part of it? You know, how does it all work on that end of it all?
Yeah, so you can become a member of the Academy, and I will just say this, we only open public enrollment twice a year. So right now I'm giving you guys a very special kind of backdoor you know, offer. We do only, you know, actually, and we just had a launch like 2 months ago. So if you go to yarnpreneur.com /S-Academy, and you can learn more. First of all, just learn more about all of the features and benefits and the things that we have going on there. And then you can join straight from that page.
Hold on. Yarnpreneur.com / what?
S Academy.
Academy. All right. I'm just putting it on Facebook so that way it's linked to there.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Because, you know, I want to make sure that people understand, you know, what it is that we're doing. We do a lot more than just release a course a month. We do group coaching. We have a private Slack workspace where members can ask questions. We do accountability sessions, all kinds of stuff, because I believe that education is useless without action. And so I try to build in not only, okay, yeah, like we're giving you the course, but now you got to do something with it.
Yeah, I love it.
We're going to bug you until you do something with it. Like, that's what we're here for, you know? We're here to support you, and we're here to help you. And we're also here to kind of make sure that you take what you're learning.
You take that next step.
Build it into what you're doing. Yeah.
I love it. So I have because I've had this pop in my brain like 3 different times now. If I don't say it out loud, I'm going to forget it again. This sounds in a way familiar in the sense that it's like CGOA's designer development program thing. Now, having said that, I need to preface that with, I don't know anything about the designer development program. Like, I'm not even a part of it. I don't know anything. So where I'm going with this is CGOA is going to be in Portland next year. Have you thought about maybe even having a booth there to reach out? Because the people that are attending like CGOAs and Stitches and stuff, they're the people I think that would be really interested in what you're offering. So yeah, if I didn't say that out loud, it was going to go away again.
Yeah. So I have not actually, I don't know specifically what is involved in their
I don't either.
Program.
Okay.
I do know that I used to be a member of CGOA, and it's one of those things that, at least for me, you know, you join because it's like industry standard, and it's like what everyone kind of quotes when they talk about this kind of stuff. But I didn't really get anything out of it. And I know I became a member and then just like literally didn't do anything for a year. So I do agree that my audience is there. They're at those events.
Right.
And something that I really do want to consider, because I do think it can help me not only gain authority and credibility, but, you know, reach more people and help them understand, you know, what it is that I'm trying to do. And honestly, my personal goal is to eventually speak about these kinds of things and help people, you know, understand, not only see, I like to approach it from the, because I do think a lot of us have a major confidence issue. A lot of us have, we like to play the comparison game. as designers. We like to look at someone else and say, oh my God, they're so successful. Look how many times they post on Instagram. Look how gorgeous their pictures are. They must be making so much money.
I don't know about the money part, but I do think all the other stuff.
like literally what the thought process is like, oh my God, like their pictures are so gorgeous. Look how successful they are.
Yeah.
And
I totally think that.
That's something that's like so that hurts me, because I've been there and I understand what it feels like to have that kind of dialogue in your head. And I know what it does to how you conduct business.
Yeah.
Beyond just how it makes you feel, I know what it does to the types of actions you take in your business and the things that you do.
Yeah.
The industry also changes quite frequently.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So you cannot, and this is what too many people do, you cannot look at someone else and say, they did X, Y, Z to get to success. I'm going to do X, Y, Z. First of all, you're not them. Second of all, they probably did that over the span of many, many years. And third of all, so much has changed.
Yes.
You know, so much has changed and will change, that it's very difficult to carbon copy what someone else is doing. It's not how it works.
Right.
So I think it's important for people to feel confident in what it is that they want.
Yeah.
What it is, what type of success they're trying to create, what type of business they're trying to create. You know, what it is that lights you up, what makes you passionate about this, what excites you about this industry. And you have to go with that.
Yep. You have to blaze your own path, light your own candle, you know, let people see you for you. Don't try and be somebody else. I mean, imagine if I tried to be like Mikey, just you know, take a moment and imagine that. First off, that'd be hilarious. Second, I would get like, is ostracized the right word? Like people would be like, who is this lady? You know what I mean? Like it just isn't going to work. I've got to be me. And that's what makes him so unique, is he is 100% him. Stephen West in the knitting side of the world. Yeah. Everybody, you can't be like Stephen West. Stephen is Stephen, you know, and Brooklyn Tweed is Brooklyn Tweed. And I don't know why I'm picking men, but I mean, I'm just trying to point out, like, everybody is so distinct and different, you know, and that's what makes them so successful, is that not necessarily that their personality is so extreme, but it's that they are different. They are themselves different, not forcibly. They're just who they are, you know? And I feel like that's like
capitalized on their uniqueness.
Yeah.
I think that's something that people don't understand, because they don't think they're enough. And it really, and this is like a really kind of,
I struggle with that,
very internal thing.
Oh yeah.
Don't believe that you're enough if you don't think you're unique enough or interesting enough, or, you know, any of those things. It's very hard for you. It's much easier to just say, yeah, maybe I'll just do what Marley does.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's easier because you don't have to break the mold. You don't have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
You don't.
Oh yeah.
There's parts of yourself out there. You don't
Absolutely.
have to do that if you're just copying someone else.
Absolutely. Because it is hard. It's hard to put yourself out there, and you know, it's that internal thing. We all have our own internal issues with various things in our lives, you know, various aspects of who we are, what we're doing. And you know, you do have to get somewhat of a tough skin, which I really struggle with. I have a terribly, like, I wear my heart on my sleeve constantly. But like, can I tell you how awful it is when somebody leaves a comment and they like leave a comment precisely hitting every single nerve or like not confident part of your body that you have, and you're just, I mean, the doubt that comes through is amazing. So I could totally see where somebody wants to pretend to be someone else and not put themselves out there, because it's hard. It is so hard. My husband is always telling me, he's like, don't worry about that. Look at, you know, he's like, look at like Hugh Jackman. There are people who don't like things about him. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. And so who am I? You know, big deal. And it's just one of those things. I think it's just a human nature thing, but you're absolutely right when it comes to creating your own, not creating your own personality, but being your own personality, being your own self, creating your career, building it around who you are. Be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
Yeah, I think that's something that people undervalue. It's one of the biggest things that creates success, especially in this industry. It's one of the biggest factors and contributors to, having an audience and having people that, care about who you are and what you do. Because at the end of the day, you're going to go home and you're going to be yourself.
Yep.
And people relate to that.
Yeah.
And they connect with that, and they will buy from people that they feel connected to.
Absolutely.
And that sounds like at some point I start to feel like that's kind of like sleazy, but it's true, because I have not ever purchased the biggest purchases that I have made have been from people that I felt connected to on some level, whether I knew them or not. You feel like you know them. You feel like you understand a part of them. You feel like you can trust them.
Yes.
So I think that's a big part of, kind of creating a shift to where yarnpreneurs can feel comfortable and confident being themselves, and not only knowing that they can do that, but knowing that it can be one of the biggest things to contribute to their success.
Absolutely. So if somebody was to come to you and say, okay, I understand what you're telling me to do in all these areas, but I can't find my voice, what would be your piece of advice for them as far as somebody's, Jess, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm going to be able to contribute to. Let's just pick on, Facebook Lives. I don't know what I can contribute to teach people to knitting and crochet. There's so many knitters or crocheters out there that are already on YouTube teaching stuff. What more can I give to this?
I always think it goes back to your story. And I teach in the Golden Circle course, one of the things that I help people find is what's called their why. And it's literally your purpose for building your business. And my why is to help yarnpreneurs build a successful business that they love. It's something I say almost every day in every live video I do. Every time I talk, it's something that it comes out of me. And I've learned from helping people try to figure out what their why is, because at the core of everything you do is your why, whether you realize it or not. If you can define it certainly helps, because it gives you kind of a compass and a center balance. But what I've realized from helping people try and find their why, a lot of times I'll get people to say, I'll ask, okay, so why are you in business? I'm really passionate about what I do. And I'm like, great, we're all passionate.
Yeah.
Okay? We all love this. If we didn't love this, we wouldn't be here, because this is a hard business.
Yes, it is.
So we're all passionate, but why are you passionate? Like, what makes you passionate? What are you trying to accomplish? Why are you here? Why are you slogging through the day-to-day? Why are you dealing with the admin work and the bookkeeping? Why are you doing this? And what I get most often is a story. I'll get something like, my grandmother taught me how to crochet, and she crocheted blankets for hospitals, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I want to crochet for charity. I want to teach more people so that they can crochet for charity. I want to, whatever it is. And it's, runs the gamut from all kinds of stuff, and those are the things that I point to, and I'm like, with that you just said, that's it. And they're like, oh, but it's just like everyone learned to crochet from their grandmother. And I'm like, yeah, but you had a unique story around it, and you transformed it into something that was unique because of that experience. So I always recommend to go back to your story to figure out why you're here. What are you trying to accomplish? What do you want to achieve? Who do you want to reach? Who do you want to help? What value do you want to give them? What do you want to show them that they can create in their lives? I have a member who wants to teach stay-at-home moms to crochet so that they have a hobby for themselves, so that they have something to do on their own time, right? So they have something that's all theirs, and it's time away from their their significant other and their kids, and they have time that they can relax and be themselves and do a project for themselves. And that's an extremely specific niche. But she's finding success because people understand her story. People connect with it. Mm-hmm. Right? What you're looking for is you're looking for that nod of, oh, yeah, I've experienced that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's plenty of stories out there. Everyone has a unique story, but there's always a thread that someone somewhere will connect to. And that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, you're hitting it on the head for so many people. I know Diane is on Facebook and she's like, I so needed to hear this. She's loving all of this conversation. And I know Diane is an aspiring designer and teacher. And I know that, Diane, I know you're going to find your voice and you're going to do great. And I know that she's like, all right, sign me up. I drank the Kool-Aid. I got this. People are loving this and they're so excited. And I know this is important for so many different people, whether they want to be a professional and write books and do magazine work, or maybe it's just learning how to put your stuff together and do craft fairs and be a professional in that world. There's so many different avenues with this industry. I love it. I think it's so great. I'm loving your story and I'm loving all of this. I'm not the only one. But can you believe we've been talking for an hour now? Like, time, I know, right? Time flies when you're having fun. It's so great. So this is the time of the show that we usually give away prizes. And I know that you have a prize to give away as well. So because there's no call-in, because we aren't doing Blog Talk Radio, yay, let's figure out how we're going to do this. Let's give away, instead of doing the call-in, let's give away something randomly at the end of the day today to somebody who's left a comment on this Facebook Live. Let's do that. And then we'll give one away to somebody who's left a comment on the show notes. So let's try it out that way this time around. So there's no call-in number, everybody. I'm glad you're listening live, but what do you do? So if you've just been listening and have not commented on Facebook Live, make sure you leave a comment. I'm also, because I'm streaming on YouTube, I'm also going to say leave your comment on YouTube as well. And at the end of today, at the end of November 21st, 2017, I will look at all of the comments and randomly select one between Facebook and YouTube. I'll just randomly select one and that person will win what?
I believe, if I remember correctly, that I have a 30-minute coaching session to give away, and then also a free 30-day membership.
That's right. That's right. That's what I have. So leave your comment on YouTube, on this particular YouTube I don't even know what to live stream. I don't know what to call it. It's so new into my Yarnpreneur life that I don't know. So leave a comment on this YouTube, leave a comment on this Facebook Live. And at the end of today, we'll randomly select a winner from one or the other. And it's a free 30-minute coaching session with Jess and a 30-day trial to Yarnpreneur Academy. Every time you say Academy, I keep thinking that somebody's going to get up for like the Lifetime Achievement Award at like CGOA. And they're going to be like, I'd like to thank the Academy who helped me get this far. Like, how cool would that be? You would totally be geeking out.
An award ceremony.
Yeah, totally. I'd totally do that. And if you are not going to, or if you maybe didn't get the chance to catch this episode live within this first 24 hours, there's always a chance for you to win as well, simply by going to the show notes of this podcast. Those can always be found at marleybird.com. If you go to marleybird.com, find the show notes for today's show with Jess Mason of the Yarnpreneur Society, and you'll find a brief synopsis of things we talked about, including images and links and all that good stuff right there. At the bottom of that blog post, you'll see where there's a place for you to leave a comment, and you'll leave a comment that includes a keyword that Jess is going to give us here in just a minute. And once you leave that comment, we will randomly select a winner from those comments in about 2 to 3 weeks. We always give you a lot of time to go back and listen to episodes and leave a comment. So if you are listening to this now on Facebook Live or on YouTube, chances are there's still a chance for you to go back and win simply by visiting marleybird.com and clicking on the blog post for this podcast. I'll make sure that I put a link in the YouTube show notes and on the Facebook Live video description. So That didn't make sense. On the YouTube video description and the Facebook Live video description. And so the keyword that they need to make sure they use in the show notes is what?
It's hustle.
Hustle. Hustle's your key word, everybody. I love that. That's a great word. You know, Vicky Howell told me once when she and I were talking, it was before I became the spokesperson for Red Heart. I was talking to her that I was going to go pitch it to Red Heart. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And she's like, okay, well, and I'm telling her everything that I was doing beforehand and what the Red Heart thing would have to take the place of. And she goes, goodness, girl, you hustle. And I was like, yeah, I do. I hustle. That's what I have to do. But it was just one of those things. Like, it was the first time somebody had ever like verbally said that to me. She's like, you got your hustle on. Like, you hustle. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
So use your keyword hustle, and that will be in the show notes, everybody. Once again, those are over at marleybird.com. You'll see where it says, podcast. You can click on show notes and find the show notes for today's show with Jess Mason and use the keyword hustle. And for that prize, it is a free 30-day trial of the Yarnpreneur Academy. So that's how that works. All right, Jess, I've had so much fun having you on the podcast. I mean, it was a rough start because Blog Talk Radio was not being friendly with me, and you all might have just witnessed my very last Blog Talk Radio attempt. I am so fed up with them, and the struggle is real. I mean, did you hear me say that it's crazy to me that we can have all of this streaming happening and I have no issues, but when I try and do an audio, like, it's nothing but issues.
On the phone.
Yeah, how crazy is that? So we'll see how the podcast progresses from here, but you might have just witnessed the death of Blog Talk Radio for the Yarn Thing podcast, because I'm done. I'm so over it. Plus, I have enjoyed being able to look at you the whole time I've been talking to you.
Nice, right?
Oh my gosh, I love it. And so I'm totally going to check into that Google Hangout Air or see how I can even share my screen. I'm going to figure something out to where we can do this so that
I can figure out how to do it.
Yeah, you can do it. Do you know how?
Yeah, we do it for Yarn Life with Lena.
Sign me up. Let's do this. I got to do this because I'm sure people are tired of just looking at me the whole time. Or when you're talking and I'm trying to type, people are like, what is she doing? What is she doing? I'm like, I'm trying to respond to you. Like, I got all this stuff happening. Yeah, so this has been fun. Anyways, I have went over to the Yarnpreneur Society. I've liked your page. I've told Facebook Live people to like your page. I'm going to tell YouTube people, like that page. Please go like the page on Facebook. Be a part of it. Join the Yarnpreneur Academy. The link is in the show notes. I've put it on Facebook. I'll make sure it goes on YouTube. Check it all out.
Facebook group as well. The Facebook group is honestly the most active. It's where I'm the most active.
Perfect.
It's where I spend the most time because I feel like I can connect with people more there. So that's just facebook.com/groups/the Yarnpreneur Society.
Perfect. Got it. I'm there. I got this. I'm trying to join everything because I love it. I love that you have partnered up with Selena too. Like, she's a big part of, I mean, she's just a great person. She is so phenomenal. And so I think it's just pretty darn great. You're doing the right thing, girlfriend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
It feels good to hear that. I had lots of fun. So Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much again.
Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. So that was Jess Mason from the Yarnpreneur Society. That sound quality wasn't bad, was it? It was actually like spot on. There wasn't a delay and it was so awesome. You guys couldn't see her. I'll figure out how to do that, but I could see her the whole time I was talking and it was really nice. So I'll have to figure out how to get that done because I think you guys would really enjoy that. Hopefully you've enjoyed this podcast today with Jess Mason of the Yarnpreneur Society. I'll make sure that I put details in the video description box, so make sure you check out the video description box if you have questions. Other than that, you can catch the our Yarn Thing podcast live every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. I will let you know that I am taking off the month of December for the podcast, but that does not mean I will not be doing Facebook Lives or YouTube Lives. So make sure you are still a part of the Marley Bird Facebook page. And if you have not done it yet, please subscribe to the Marley Bird YouTube channel so that way you're up to date whenever I go live or I put out a new video, because I have tons of of really wonderful content coming out this month until the end of the year. So much is happening. I just can't wait to share it with all of you. All right, so this has been a treat. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to say goodbye to YouTube. See you later.